Hydrogen Technology Expo in Hamburg. I'm Naomi from Hydrogen Standard, and we're going to be speaking to Dino from Intlvac. So Dino, do you want to start by telling us a little bit about Intlvac, about the company and what you're doing here at the Hydrogen Expo?
So 30 years ago, we started off by building equipment for thin film deposition. And in 30 years, we've built up a large repertoire of systems and coating processes. And now we export our systems, our technology all over the world for thin film coating. And so thin film coating typically are things that are under a micron. So we differentiate that from thick film coating, things you might get on your faucet or door handles. So thin films are used for, in this case, they're used on electrolyzers, in PEMs. So it is one way that we can make materials go a very long way. And so one of the challenges in the hydrogen industry has been the use of precious metals. So how do we deal with plating this much precious metal onto, things like titanium felt? Well, through our, basically outer space type simulation technology, we can take these things, put them in a vacuum chamber. We can remove the native oxide. I mean, every metal in air grows in oxide. We can remove that to get rid of parasitic resistance and then deposit our metals directly onto that, for example, titanium. We also have different processes when it comes to doing coatings. We can coat onto plastic membranes. We can coat onto plastic parts. We can make multi-layer metal coatings onto plastics. And so plastics are one of the ways that people are looking at reducing the weight, going away from metals. And so we cover really the whole area. It's a lot of different technology, but technology we've built up over the last 30 years. And so a lot of this technology is used in optics, thin film for optics, used for sensors, for oil well drilling sensors, for all kinds of microelectronics applications, for infrared imaging. So at Intlvac, our specialty is we don't just build machinery, we actually design and develop a process. So typically a customer will come to us, they'll have an issue, they'll say, I'd really like to make this coating on this part. Like someone did today, told me that, I need a barrier layer protective slip coating. And it's like, wow, I got the perfect thing in my bag. And I pull it out and I say, I can put this down for you. Now, we have to look at scalability, but there's lots of ways to attack that. And so that's really been our success, is really not just being a hardware manufacturer, but we're a solutions provider. I know it's cliche, but that's really our specialty, is we know the technology and we know how to adapt it to the customer's needs.
No, that makes sense. So building on that a bit more, what is Intlvac's specific role in the hydrogen market?
So there's a lot of interest in using precious metals, and people are very stressed when they look at the cost of things. So for example, we did some gold coating. We're using a slab of gold that was 6-inch diameter, 1/4 of an inch thick. That was $160,000 for that piece of metal. So, people want to use that very frugally and make it go a long way. So thin film allows you to do that. I mean, we're really painting with atoms using our technology. And so we can minimize that and make it more cost effective.
Okay, so cost effectiveness is definitely one. Are there any additional benefits to utilizing your products that you'd like to expand on?
Well, so sure. So that was the precious metals, but then there are other applications for thin films as barrier layers. And so people want barrier layers for gas diffusion, barrier layers to keep hydrogen out of things. So there's a variety of different materials at our disposal and deposition techniques that we use to do that. And one of our favorites, by the way, is making diamond. Now, my wife, she's always grumpy. It's like, why didn't you make me any diamonds? And it's like, well, you couldn't afford the diamonds that we make. Okay, so, but really, I mean, we make a hybrid of graphite and diamond, and we can control the sp2, sp3 bond ratio. We can control stress. We can dope it for conductivity, for lubricity. So, like I mentioned before, we have a lot of process knowledge that we bring to the table. So that's another example of what's very interesting for the hydrogen world.
Okay, so who are some of your typical customers and what's your process for working with those customers?
I can't name them because everyone has an NDA, but let me think of anybody who's making big electrolyzers. Okay, well, you're probably doing something for them, but I can't tell you about it. So they send us parts, so they might be investigating different materials, different elements on the periodic table, and we can give them some guidance, things to try, and so they will, send us their parts that they're going to build into their machinery, and we'll apply coatings for them. And then, our goal is either we'll provide coating services or we'll then provide a turnkey solution for them so that they can bring manufacturing in-house.
That's great. Thank you so much. Dino, it's been a pleasure speaking with you. Thank you so much.